In half a minute, Mrs. Cratchit entered, flushed but smiling proudly, with the pudding, like a speckled cannonball, so hard and firm, blazing in half-a-quartern of ignited brandy, and bedight with Christmas holly stuck into the top. Hard and firm, speckled like a cannonball? I mean, if that doesn't get you going to want to learn how a figgy pudding is made, I have no idea what's going to. We've all mindlessly sung the Christmas carol over the years, but what the hell is figgy pudding? Well, I brought some, and here are a few fun facts. So believe it or not, figgy pudding actually has no figs in it. It does have suet though, which is animal fat, and to top it all off, you pour brandy over this entire thing and light it on fire. An article from NPR told me that this is a traditional dish at the British Christmas table. In addition, some of its other names include things like plum pudding or simply put, Christmas pudding. It has its origins in medieval times when dried meats and fruits were stored in a pastry bag, when liquid was added to the dried mix and expanded and was cooked like a pie to serve many people. Over the years, the dried fruit stuck around in addition to sugars, spices, and suet or animal fat. Figgy pudding really started out as something savory, but is now a dessert centerpiece enjoyed by many in the UK. Let's make it, shall we? This recipe is the conglomeration of several sources that I looked at online. I kind of picked out the pieces that I wanted most, what kind of dried fruits I want, what kind of spices I wanted, whether to use milk or beer and things of that nature. So hopefully you guys enjoy and get ready to use the most dried fruit you've ever used in a recipe. So we're going to start off with 150 grams of dried apricots, 150 grams of dried cherries, 150 grams of golden raisins, and 100 grams of medjool dates. And if you thought we were done, we also need 50 grams of crystallized or candied ginger too. Now we need to cut everything up, and I'm going to go roughly basically the same size as the raisins. So I'm going to take my medjool dates, make sure they're pitted first, and then I'm just going to slice them up roughly, trying to get them roughly the same size as about the raisins. Once the dates are done, then I'm just going to do the same thing with the dried apricots, the dried cherries, and that crystallized ginger. Then lastly, we're just going to take 40 grams of walnuts and mince those up too. Now get out your mixing bowl. We're going to pour in our dried cherries, our dried raisins, our dried apricots, the dates, and the crystallized ginger. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? For a little citrus bite, we're going to get half an orange and use the zest from half and also use half of the juice. Just squeeze it right in there. With those ingredients out of the way, it's now time to talk about suet. So suet is animal fat, and this is just some beef fat that we got from a butcher friend of ours. And all I'm doing is just mincing this up really fine. It's actually frozen because it's a lot easier to slice it and mince it when it's frozen as opposed to if it was, room temperature. I'm sure you could use other oil sources like butter or vegetable oil or things of that nature, but every recipe that I looked at had some type of animal fat in it, so we are keeping to the tradition. With our beef fat prepped, now we can add the rest of our ingredients. 125 grams of plain flour, 150 grams of breadcrumbs, those 40 grams of the crushed up walnuts. Then we're going to add 125 grams of demerara sugar, though I'm sure you could substitute other sugars if you wanted to. Lastly, we're going to come with 125 grams of our chopped up beef fat. For spices, I chose 2 grams of allspice, 2 grams of nutmeg, and freshly grated, I can confirm your hand will start to cramp. We're going to round that out with 2 grams of fresh ground cinnamon and about 5 grams of salt. Now with all the dry ingredients in there, give everything just a rough mix, and now we're going to add in 1 whole egg and 150 grams of milk. And I did want to note, I did find some recipes where they actually use beer or stale beer instead of milk, so try that out if you want to. Now that we have our wet ingredients combined, just mix everything with your hands until the mixture starts to form and you can form it into a nice ball completely. At this point, this is smelling really, really good. Here's my reaction right after I mixed it. All right, quick live reaction. This thing is dense. Like, this thing weighs so much. I can see the cannonball comparison. Number 2 takeaway though, it smells really, really good. Like I would totally just, it almost makes you just want to eat it right now, like raw cookie dough, but I'm not going to, because we're gonna grease it up and put it in our pudding bowl.
Now it's time to grease up a heat-proof bowl. I'm just using a Pyrex mixing bowl. And then just drop in the figgy pudding right into it and kind of press it down so it forms to the shape of the bowl. Now we're going to prepare a parchment paper lid to protect it while it's steaming. Just fold up some parchment paper, align it to the bowl, and then just cut it, and then you have this nice circle that you can crimp down around the edges. Next, you're just going to add 2 layers of aluminum foil, and you can tie a string around it. That's what they say to do, but I'm going to be honest, my string didn't do anything in keeping this in place. Now our pudding is ready to be steamed. Get a large pan and drop the pudding bowl right on top, and then fill it halfway up with water. Bring that water to a boil, and then drop it down to a simmer, put the lid on, and we're going to let this go for 3 hours. Once 3 hours are up, just lift the lid off and we're gonna remove the pudding from the pot. Remove the tin foil, peel off that parchment paper, and I'm telling you, it literally just smells like a bowl of Christmas. Now you're gonna place it on a cake serving dish or something like this, flip it upside down, and there we have our finished figgy pudding. But there's one thing left to do, and that's set it on fire. You guys heard it from the Christmas Carol. You gotta pour brandy all over top of this and then light it on fire with a match. Now with the flambe, it's more for a dramatic effect, though you will get some subtle flavors from that burnt alcohol. And yeah, I wanted a clip of what it looks like in the dark too. Once you're done satisfying your pyromaniac tendencies, all you need to do is slice this and serve it with some cream.
It's safe to say if you bring figgy pudding to your holiday this year, you're definitely gonna be in for a good treat. I am absolutely shocked at how good this tastes. One improvement that I would like to make is with the texture. I think if I finally chop the dried fruit a little bit more, it helps. I kind of had some big chunks there, I got a little lazy, let's be honest. But the taste on this is actually so good. You get like all those classic spices, and then mixed in with like the sweetness and the sourness from the dried fruits it's really something special. So I hope you all have enjoyed learning a little bit about figgy pudding, and I wish you all a happy holiday. Hopefully you guys are eating and cooking some good food with the time off. But that's gonna wrap it up for me. I will catch you in the next one.